This is a bit of a trivia. Tell me, which security, and you can drop this in the comment section, which security camera allows the controller, that is the person who is manipulating the camera, to be able to simulate this type of movement with the camera? Alright, in case you do not know, you need to continue watching the video. It's a pleasure having you back. Thank you for stopping by again. Now, in this video, I am going to be sharing with you the essential things to look for in a security camera. So this is just the cameras themselves now. Alright, so I'm going to be sharing with you, how you go about choosing the right security camera for your setup, for your small business or for home purposes. This, of course, is part 2 in a 4-part series looking at security cameras for small businesses and home users. In the first video, I basically went through, the 7 questions that you need to ask before you go shopping for a security camera. And in the third video, which is to come, I am going to be looking at, DVRs and NVRs. All right, so you want to check that one also out also. Right now, for the first video, looking at the 7 essential questions you need to ask before you go shopping for a security camera system, you can click on the link above there to access that video. All right, of course, before I jump into the video, let me just invite you to hit that subscription button. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate you coming on board, right? So please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button also, and share the videos with other persons so that you can also get value from this and other videos. All right, so let's jump right into the video. The first of the 4 cameras I'm going to be talking about here is the bullet camera. And the bullet camera is considered to be the staple of security cameras. So if you look, in terms of a commercial setting or a home setting, you're going to find that the bullet camera is pretty much standard. It is, as I mentioned before, one of those cameras that you will see. All right, so it's pretty much common. Now, in terms of strengths, it offers long range, so you'll find that they pretty much cover, areas like entrances, driveways. They're pretty much durable. So for those that are used outdoors, you're going to find too that they're going to be weatherproof, somewhat tamper-proof. In terms of cost, they're pretty much inexpensive. So if you look, for instance, on the analog cameras, they're going to be fairly cheap. So, expect to spend something like 20 something US dollars per camera. For the IP cameras, then those, of course, are going to be a little bit more expensive. All right, so the cost will be like 30 something dollars and greater given the resolution of the camera. So in terms of weaknesses, they can't pan, they can't tilt, so they can't move from left to right or up or down by themselves. If you need to adjust the camera for viewing purposes, you will need to physically go to the location of the camera and make that adjustment. Also, they may be considered to be a visual deterrent. So they're like really up in your face. So, they're pretty much obvious, in terms of the installation. So this can be a plus. It can also be a minus because it can be a plus in terms of, it being a deterrent, but it can also be a negative in the sense that, if you are seeking cameras that are discrete, then this would not be it. So for the dome cameras, these are pretty much discrete. So I just spoke about the bullet cameras, which are really, somewhat up in your face. If you want a more discrete camera, then this is it here, the dome camera. So they are pretty much inconspicuous. So normally you find them tucked away in some little 90-degree areas there or at some corners, right? So they're dome shaped and they offer, somewhat of a subtle appearance. They're also tamper resistant. So, they're not, so easy for somebody to go there and mess with them. And they give pretty much, fairly good wide angle viewing. So in terms of weaknesses, the cost, you're going to find that these cameras are going to be a little bit more expensive than your standard bullet cameras, right? So expect again based on the resolution, expect them to cost in the region of about $30 to $40 US up, and of course, real high grade units will be costing you, like commercial grade dome cameras are going to be costing you a couple of hundred US dollars each. All right. In terms of other weaknesses, they're pretty much limited in terms of their zoom capabilities, and you may have challenges with clear. So in terms of where you position these cameras is very important. Now, at the beginning of the video, when I was doing the intro, I had asked a question, which camera it is that allows you to be able to, move from left to right, to up and down, and to zoom. All right. Now, this is that camera here. This is a PTZ camera. So it pans, it tilts, and it zooms. All right. Now, based on those capabilities, it gives you a more complete control over your viewing angle or angles. All right. These are typical, normally high resolution cameras, and they can, of course, give you close-up, footage. The thing too is that with these cameras, you find that these cameras would be normally monitored. So you would have these now attached to somewhere like a control room where there's somebody or persons in a control room who are manipulating the camera, right? To get different viewing angles or to zoom in on some activity to see what is happening, right? So they're pretty much advanced in terms of their capabilities. They have motion traction, motion tracking. There's also night vision and other features, right? Now, in terms of weaknesses, I mentioned the expense before. So yes, they're going to be costing much more money than the previous two cameras. They're pretty much more complex to install. You have to think in terms of we're going to be installing them also. That is going to be a factor in terms of you being able to capture a fairly good amount of area, right? Just a privacy concern if you're looking for a camera which is somewhat discreet, then this is not that camera, right? Because they're typically, especially in a commercial setting, you find that they are very much bulky. They occupy a lot of space and they're up in your face. And in terms of cost, expect that these, especially those that are more commercial grade, that they're going to be costing a couple of hundred, even thousands of US dollars each. Then finally, we have the 360-degree cameras, and now these now will give you a complete coverage, right? So these now give you what we refer to as a panoramic view. So they capture everything within the surroundings without any blind spots. If you're looking for a camera that is going to eliminate blind spots, then this is that camera. You're going to find too that these are going to be installed in some central area where they can um, appropriately, comfortably give you that 360-degree coverage. So, not to give too much information, but if you look in areas like, like malls and like in banks, that they normally will have this. If you're looking like even like in a banking hall, that these will be, you walk into a typical banking hall, like an ABM part of a bank where you have like multiple machines, you're going to find that this is going to be installed in the roof, like in the middle of the floor space in the roof, right? So that it can cover all angles in that room, all right? Um, yeah, so these are fairly easy to install, and the plus here, the high point is capacity, is ability to give you multiple viewing options, right? Now, in terms of weaknesses, expect that this camera is going to be very expensive. So again, commercial grade units, will be like a couple of hundred, couple thousand US dollars, thereabout. And in terms of zooming capabilities, you may have, some amount of limitations here. But of course, as we go, progress into time, you find that, these weaknesses in terms of being able to zoom and, resolution, image quality and support, that they continue to improve.
All right, so that is it, looking at the four essential cameras that you will find in a security camera setup, whether for commercial purposes, for a small business, or if you want to have a security system for your home. Now, the question now is, which camera is the best for your situation? Now, of course, I'm not able to answer that question. And you may be wondering, but Roger, why can't you tell me, which camera is best for you, for me, right? No, the answer is that each person's situation is different. So there are different variables to be considered as it relates to your premises, your property that you want to secure, right? So each person's situation is different. And as a result of that, each person or each business's premises, has to be assessed on an individual basis, and then a recommendation made as to, the type of camera or cameras that will be best suited for the, situation at hand. Right? So that is why I'm not able to say to you that, hey, you should go out and you should buy, your standard bullet cameras. Even though really and truly, when you purchase like a DVR system or NVR system on Amazon, for instance, you're going to find that this is going to be the standard cameras that are shipped with the unit. Okay, but that doesn't mean that these are necessarily the best for your situation, because I'd mentioned the 360-degree camera, I'd mentioned the PTZ cameras, right? So you have to assess your situation or have a professional do an assessment and make a recommendation as to what is best suited for your situation. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you for watching. And please remember to check out the previous video looking at the 7 essential questions that you need to answer before you go shopping for a security camera system. And also look out for the next video, which is looking at DVRs and NVRs. All right. Thank you for watching. Again, please remember to like, subscribe, share, and see you again in the next video. Take care.